Angry Andy Reviews.
Angry Andy.
Angry Andy Reviews. Angry Andy Reviews. Angry Andy Reviews. Angry Andy Reviews.
Don't make me destroy you.
Hello and welcome to Angry Andy Reviews. And I realised I had not posted my thoughts on The Rings of Power Season 2. Well, so the first 3 episodes dropped all at once for The Rings of Power Season 2, and to be honest with you, I don't have the time to watch 3 hours of a show that I didn't really like in Season 1 all in one go. So it's taken me a few days, and finally I finished them. And I have to say, the show is a little bit better than what we had in the soulless Season 1, but there are still a myriad of issues in the series for me. For one, I don't like any of the characters, which is baffling considering the majority of the characters we've seen in The Lord of the Rings, for example, and in the books. I just don't like these characters. I don't feel invested in any of their stories, and weirdly enough, there is that much going on. It's overstuffed. There's that much going on that I'd forgotten plot points from Season 1, and again that's a problem because it's been 18 months, 2 years since Season 1. Why have they started doing this with TV shows? Why have they started doing it where we're taking 2 years to get to another season? People forget. People move on. And the problem for me is when it's a show that I didn't really care for or like, that I've just completely zoned out. It's still very much a bit of a jumbled mess for me. It's well known that they've tried to contract a lot of the stories over the thousands of years that the pre-Lord of the Rings stories take place. With Sauron coming to power in the First Age, the Second Age, all of this, the fall of Numenor, the rise of the Astari. There's so much that they're trying to squeeze into a very short period of time that nothing seems to be gelling for me. Nothing seems to be gelling. It's all over the place. Very little of it makes sense. There's long periods where time seems to have passed by a great deal, except it doesn't feel like any time's passed at all, especially in this opening series, this opening season. Dog outside's clearly not happy either. Somebody's wheeling a bin. And that's obviously an interesting metaphor for me. Wheeling a bin across the screen, it seems to be what's happening all the time through this series. There's a point in which Sauron's travelling across great distances, and nobody else seems to move at all. Are they all just sat in place for years? What's the time frame with which any of this is taking place? How long is it getting from point A to point B? And that's a very minor gripe. We had that issue in Game of Thrones as well towards the latter part of the series before it all went to hell. But with this, fundamentally, I just feel that I'm not enjoying any of the characters. And when I don't care about the characters, when I don't feel invested in the characters, then I have fundamental issues. I don't feel any need or necessity to feel involved in their plight. You have to have good characters, good writing for those characters, and that comes with good dialogue. I mean, the dialogue is waffle in places, designed to sound like Tolkien, designed to sound like Shakespeare in a way, and it doesn't fit. Whereas Peter Jackson's universe, as he created in Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, felt as though they were speaking in natural tones, natural verses. This feels as though people are reading a script very quickly with little time and struggling to grasp it whilst trying to maintain an air of urgency in what they're doing. And the issue is that everybody just seems to be bickering between themselves. And that's not entertaining, that's not good storytelling at all. If all people are doing is just bickering without point, it's ludicrous. A lot of the infighting seems to be for very meaningless points. Oh, we need to stop doing this. Oh, we need to get the rings here. Oh, we need to tell everyone that Sauron's back. And then nobody does. They just send one inept messenger to go and deliver a message. My word, the greatest villain that you've ever faced is back. And you know he's back. And you do nothing but send a single messenger. Well fucking done. I find it completely soulless. I find it completely empty. I find it wholly vapid. It looks beautiful. I'm not going to deny that. It looks beautiful. I believe the soundscape is somewhat decent. The music for me is a bit off. It feels like a bit of a knockoff. Again, a knockoff Lord of the Rings Peter Jackson version, which is strange because Bear McCreary is a very, very good composer for TV shows. And it feels like a cheap version of everything, and this show ain't fucking cheap. Now, granted, I know we're going to get a lot more battles coming in later on in this series, but I need to feel, fundamentally, I need to feel some investment in the characters. I need to feel some investment in the writing. I need to feel like I'm involved in everyone's plight, everyone's story. The third episode of this new season is the first time we see the dwarves, I think, and that's ludicrous to me. We haven't seen them for a whole 18 months, or is it episode 2? I can't remember. One of them, episode 2 or 3, because they kind of just blended into one for me. And how do we not see these characters at all times? But again, it's because there's too much going on. It's the same with Numenor. We rush in to Numenor again, either in the third or the second episode. And again, I've forgotten what was going on, because none of the characters are interesting to me. The general idea of Numenor is interesting to me, because I want to see how Numenor falls. But at the same time, I'm not really getting a sense that I should give a shit. I'm not really getting a sense that I should give a shit about the dwarves either. We're getting this whole idea that they're delving too deep, they're mining too deep, as is the greatest part of that fucking story about the dwarves in the mountains. And yet, it's lackluster, it's vapid, we're arguing over minuscule things. Oh, my father won't listen to me. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. My word. Why are we doing this small nonsense family bickering when the stories are there and ripe for the taking to create a great fantasy epic? The trappings are all there. They're all there for you to pluck out of and utilise if you do it properly. Not fucking inter-family bloody arguments. Oh, he won't listen to me. It's the same thing with Galadriel and Elrond. I don't buy this back and forth over how the ring should be used. No, I don't believe it. It's childish. It feels like bickering siblings. And nobody wants that in a Lord of the Rings show. It's fundamentally a battle between good and evil. And I'm not going to delve too deep into. Oh, there goes a pun. I'm not going to delve too deep into this whole new argument that's come about with the orcs having families and children, and all they want is to reside in a place all of their own, free of war. It's a difficult one. Tolkien never sort of really said fundamentally whether the orcs could breed. I know he mentioned that it's purely possible that they would have wives. Again, I can't really remember too much about what he wrote because there's so much, but it's a difficult conundrum to put, because all we do know fundamentally is that the orcs were designed to be fodder in these stories. They were designed to be a malevolent force that could be killed without whim. So for me, the idea that they all they want to do is settle down and live peacefully is a bit egregious. The whole idea of them having wives and children, it just reminds me of the Two Towers when Gimli's laughing about dwarf women, and how people saying, well, some people argue that there are no dwarf women. Well, of course, that's ridiculous. And the same situation is here. I think there is some suggestion that Uruk-hai were born from slime and the earth itself, a mixture of DNAs. I think it's one or the other, and it doesn't really create any issue with me whatsoever whether the orcs have wives or not. The issue is that these creatures are malevolent from the top down, and to try and postulate them as being just another race wanting to live peacefully is fucking ridiculous for me. It's absolutely ridiculous. Don't try and ship that. It won't fucking land at all. The orcs are there as pure evil incarnate, alright? Fucking hell. But there you go. We're going to have to see what happens. I don't know whether I'm going to do weekly summaries of every episode. I haven't decided yet, because fundamentally I'm watching because of my love of Lord of the Rings, of Tolkien's work, of the fall of Numenor, of Children of Hurin, all of this, the original Astari, the Blue Wizards. I'm interested to see what's going on. My God, I haven't even talked about fake Gandalf and the fake hobbits. My word, this is the problem. There are too many stories. There are too many things going on, and nothing has any concrete plan or design from what I can see of what story they want to tell. They're just telling every story they possibly can, and there you go. But Jesus Christ, that's the issue for me fundamentally. It's jumbled, it's messy, it's without coherence fundamentally, and a lot of that stems from the characters and the writing. So there you go. Let me know what your thoughts are. Have you been watching season 2 of The Rings of Power so far? I believe the next episode's out tomorrow. I did think it was out today, so I was going to leave this video until I watched that, but hello, I got it wrong. So there we go. Let me know your thoughts. I'm struggling. I'm really struggling. I'm open because of my love of Lord of the Rings and what it meant for me growing up. And obviously with the magic of the films as well. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think about The Rings of Power Season 2? Are you invested? Are you intrigued? Do you believe that Anatar is a laughable cosplay character? Interesting indeed. And do we really care? Interesting thoughts, I think. Let me know your thoughts, like I said, and if you enjoyed this video, please do like and subscribe to the channel for more off-the-cuff commentaries like this one. I'm very busy today, so I wasn't able to sit down and do a proper screen capture, if you like, of images and whatever. But let me know your thoughts anyway. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.